Thank you. Welcome everyone to our San Diego City College Instructional Town Hall. My name is Tilly Chavez and I'm the Vice President of Instruction. Thank you for being here with us today and our very first town hall, and I'm excited. I have a great team here with me that will either provide some information pretty quickly here or also be here to answer your questions. And our goal is to have a Q&A session for about 30 minutes. So get ready to ask those questions in the chat, and we will be asking those at about 3 o'clock. So we'll go ahead and get started. And I'd like to get started with some introductions. And who we have here with us today, I'm not going to ask them to stand or anything, but just to go through and let you know who's here with us, is we have our President, Ricky Shabazz. We have
Hello, everyone.
Paul Alexander, our president of our academic senate. Part of our academic faculty leadership, we have Luis Perez, Kelly Mayhew. We have our deans. We have, let's see, there's many of them. We have Aaron Deddy, we have Susan Murray, and we have Lori Etika, Robbie Ewell, Dee Armstrong, Dean Rose, Lance, our workforce dean, and we have also with us today, we have Nisha Savage, Jeannie Tyler, and I'm also going to move on that we have our Vice President of Student Services, Denise Wisenhunt, our Vice President of Business Services, Roxanne Solis. We have with us today, helping out to answer questions under admissions, is Megan Soto. We have our counseling department chair, Georgina Garcia. And representing our transfer and career center is Dr. Bull. And that's what I have right now on my screen. I'm going to go ahead and ask Paul Alexander to please go ahead and get us started with the greeting, if you don't mind.
Yeah, hello everybody. Crazy times that we're living in, the amount of stress, the amount of effort that's taking to, for all of us in whatever capacity we bring to the campus is at a heightened level. But the one thing that I can say, based off my experiences seeing other campuses across the state, other campuses in the district, is there's no other college that I would want to be a part of in these difficult times. As Academic Senate President, we've been having a lot of meetings with the administration, with Dr. Shabazz, with Tilly, with Dr. Denise Wisenhunt, and the amount of respect and cordiality that is between us is very encouraging. I hope that we will be able to continue working together through these difficult times and be able to represent this amazing San Diego City College campus. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and I look forward to learning along with everybody else.
Thank you, Paul. Our amazing Vice President of Student Services, Denise Wisenhunt, can you take it away for the CARES Act? I need you to unmute yourself first.
Good afternoon, City College. It is my pleasure to talk to you just for a couple of minutes about something that the federal government has given us an opportunity to provide in the hands of our students, and that is called the CARES Act. The CARES Act provides City College with a little less than $2 million, $6 million at the entire district level, and about $2 million to your beloved campus. This $2 million, which I should say is about $1.695 million, is split in half. The first 50% is direct student aid to get that money in the hands of the students. The other 50% is for other institutional practices in this time of COVID-19. So our campus has been working extremely hard and working diligently under the leadership of Dr. Shabazz to make sure that we do this as expeditiously as possible. So what does that mean? That means the inclusion of our academic senate representatives, which include Berta Harris and Bernice Lorenzo, having instructional and student services voice present. It also includes the voices of our classified senate, and it also includes the voices of our administration and of course, our beloved students. Diana Torres is our student representative. So what have we been doing? We've been looking at different ways that we can get resources to our students. And so what is going to happen is in just a few days, we'll be sending a communication to students to give them the opportunity to apply for resources. Now that is broken up in a lot of different ways. We as a committee recognize it was very important to put a special emphasis on our most neediest of our students, or I shouldn't say neediest, I don't like that word, but those students whom are most in need. And those students who are most in need are often our Pell students. So there's a big emphasis on getting money directly into the hands of our Pell recipients. And also we recognize the voices of those students who do not receive Pell. And with that, there is a particular process for our entire campus to apply. So there are a lot of resources that we're working on to provide resources directly in the hands of students. On the other side, we know that COVID has given us some challenges. You all know I'm coming from my house and you're coming from your house. So issues such as laptops, technology, how can we do the best in providing support to our faculty is of utmost importance, as well as our classified professionals and administration in trying to figure this out. So we've come up with some really good approaches and we're really excited about it. The committee is fantastic. And so we look forward to, again, getting money in the hands of our students. And that's what CARES, we care, and that's what the CARES Act is all about.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask our president, Dr. Shabazz, if you can tell us a little bit about commencement.
Yeah, and this is another area that is under the leadership of our great Vice President, Denise Wisenhunt, and our amazing Dean,
Marciano.
Why am I having, I need some.
Marciano Bettis.
Marciano Bettis. And the entire commencement committee, who is working to offer a virtual commencement on July 17th. And so students will be getting information. We have a flyer out to the campus. And again, Marciano and his team are working to offer a virtual commencement. We'd like to give all of our students a cap and gown, but we are learning that those are in high demand right now because of the coronavirus. We're finding it very difficult to locate cap and gowns, but we're making every effort possible to give our students something. So some more information will be coming out on how we'll be doing the virtual commencement, but kudos to Marciano Perez and the team working on that effort.
And quickly, I'd just like to mention commencement, and then we have convocation coming up at the beginning of the semester. And our plan is to still have convocation, and not sure exactly how that'll be. Everything is evolving every day, but we will continue to have convocation, probably surrounding around distance education and what we've learned and what I wish I would have learned beforehand. Thank you. Next up, I'm going to ask Dr. Bull if you would please say a few words about the pass or no pass.
Yes, hello everyone, welcome. As you know, the UC and CSU system has set up a variety of exemptions. And the UCs have maximized up to 14 units of pass no pass. There is a distinction between certain major preps, similar to our federal response. The states and then the cities have their own specific responses. So likewise, there's the UC statewide response. There's the campus-wide response, it's the departmental response. And so there are a lot of majors, for example, UCSD, the vast majority of the campus major preparation courses are allowing our students to take the pass no pass, but there are certain exemptions, like biology, for example, they want a letter grade for their major prep courses, math, the verdict is still out for them, structural engineering. And so we want to make sure that you exercise caution with that. Also, the golden four for the CSUs, that's your quantitative reasoning, your written communication, your oral communication, and your critical thinking courses. All four of those, the CSUs have allowed our students to take those courses pass no pass, which is very, very huge for us, because just like the faculty, the students weren't prepared for this as well. And so for them to be held accountable for something they sign up for and a method of instruction that may not be conducive to their learning, is something that they're being very, very flexible about. The challenge also is I know tomorrow's the deadline, but if they want to exercise the pass no pass option, you have to be very, very diligent about that. And so I liken to this analogy, go to the convenience store, you can have Skittles or you can have nutritional items, right? And so just because you can doesn't mean you should. Because you can have Skittles doesn't mean it's good for you. So likewise, if you're taking a major like physics, for example, that is going to be needed for your graduate school, your pre-med. You can take pass no pass, but you're most likely going to need to take that class again in the future for your grad school requirements. Same thing with nursing, anatomy, physics, micro, those 3 core courses. They want you to take those courses for letter grade. If you want taking those managerial accounting courses, for example, you want to sit for your CPA licensure in the future, there's going to be a detrimental long-term impact. So as your students have these discussions with you about taking the class, pass no pass, and students, if you are listening, be cognizant and aware that although you're granted this exemption now, if you have future plans, there's going to be a long-term impact. So just be very, very cautious and aware of that. But again, the UCs and CSUs and our district has been very, very flexible in allowing you to exercise this option because we did not sign up for this.
Thank you, Dr. Bull. It's very vital information for our students, especially as we come to the end of the semester. Next up on our agenda is the fall semester. And please, Dr. Shabazz and Denise, Roxanne, please all join in this conversation. One of the things is, if everyone hasn't heard yet, if you haven't read the memo and the email sent out by our chancellor on Tuesday evening, is that we are primarily looking at our fall semester will be online with some exceptions. And I don't want to say online, it's really remote. It can be synchronized, asynchronized classes, hybrid, an option of various kinds. And this has only been 48 hours. So we haven't had the full plan ironed out yet, but working with deans and chairs and faculty to figure out what's going to work best for our students in the fall semester. I've been on frequent phone calls and ideas we're still working about, so don't have all the way laid out plan, but we're starting on that piece of it. Some labs and clinicals will probably be the options for having students come back on campus. Roxanne, you're on here too. Would you like to talk a little bit about just returning to campus?
Well, we're talking about a phased-in approach. And I guess most importantly, we want to make sure that all of our employees and our students that have to return to campus or need to take classes on campus are safe. So we're looking at several different options and models. We'll begin a plan, I guess the planning phase tomorrow during our summit. And we're looking at best practices as well as safety equipment and supplies. So I've already been in contact with our vendors. I'm already in the process of ordering several different things, such as masks, gloves, sanitizer, and the plastic or the plexiglass dividers for office spaces. So we're in the very beginning stages of a phased-in approach for a return to campus.
And if I could chime in, on that, thanks, Roxanne, and had a great conversation with our academic senate leadership just prior to this call. And I want to be clear that we are absolutely taking people's health and safety at the core of whatever decision we make. And that includes allowing people on the campus right now. I was on campus on Monday. There were a number of employees accessing their workspaces to retrieve things like computers or ergonomic chairs or keyboards. And so we've sent out quite a bit of communications to folks saying, if you left something that is of importance to you completing the work that you are doing for our students, to work with your immediate supervisor. Now, that doesn't mean you can take a desk. That also doesn't mean that we could send Ken or the IT team home with you. But what we can do is allow you to take your desktop in the event that you need to. These are less than ideal matters. And I want to just go on record as saying how proud I am of our college. And I echo our academic senate president. Like we responded to this emergency in ways that I could never imagine. And we have such great faculty, such caring classified professionals. And I want to urge us to keep that love and that caring at the center of our communication with one another, our respect, our mutual respect, our civility. But as it relates to opening back up, we want to continue to instill hope, not only in our students, in our community, but in one another. And so I want to be clear that we realize that some people have health concerns. We realize that there are varying levels of anxiety. And I've asked the managers to begin the dialogue. You all will have input in how we open back up, what kind of safety precautions, what offices. And it is a tad bit different in terms of instruction being in a space with 30 or more students teaching a class. What that may mean is that a faculty member might be invited back to campus to teach their class from their class without students there. We have to be considerate of our disabled students and some of the concerns and challenges that they may have. And so we're working through this, folks. There is not a playbook. We're open to your feedback. We're open to your concerns, but we need to be open for operations as the health community, our state, our federal government gives us the green light. We don't have the green light right now, but as we expect to receive the green light, we want to begin those dialogues today. And so the managers are going to be reaching out, the supervisors are going to be reaching out. We want to hear your concerns, and you'll be a part of a planning committee that help us decide which offices can open and when do they open. And when I say open, I don't mean open as of yesterday. I mean open as in tomorrow, related to this virus and social distancing and those kind of things. And sorry, I talked a little bit about that, but we know we have concerns. We hear your concerns, but we also have people who want to get back to campus to see one another, to interact with students in the most healthy and safe manner possible.
So Ricky, there's also on our fall scheduling, our fall semester, the June 25th and 26th Planning Summit. Do you want to go ahead and talk about that right now?
Sure. And so we are facing the perfect storm between the state budget. There's an article that came out in the LA Times today that said that the state is facing the biggest deficit in its history. We know that our ability to teach and support our students is largely based on our funding from the state. So we're going to be impacted. Those of us who lived through this in 2007, 8, 9, 10, we saw as much as 40% cuts. Now, that's not what is expected now. They're asking us to plan for between 5 and 15, or as many as, or as much as 20%. We know we're going to be negatively impacted. The budget outlook, at least in the next 12 to 18 months, is grim. And so we need to come together as a campus, calling together those faculty, chairs, the administration, the folks from leading from a middle, our SPA, our classified exec, our student exec, government exec, for a 2-day planning summit to look at how are we going to plan to support students in this pandemic moving forward, because the coronavirus is here with us, folks. Whether we have a virus, and I know that there are varying degrees of feeling toward vaccines and that sort of thing. This is about planning so we can account for the nearly 51 people that we're losing as a college to either the SERP, which congratulations, I'm happy for those people who are retiring. But the fact of the matter is that our classified professionals are the largest number of the participants in the SERP. And so that's going to impact offices almost immediately, because the role of a SERP, not as Ricky says, but as a SERP is designed, is to not replace those positions. The college going into this matter was facing about a $2 to $3 million deficit, the district at about $30 million. And now we know that the state is facing somewhere upwards of a $54 billion deficit. Folks, we are going to be negatively impacted by that. And we've got to lean in, as our vice president would say, to talk about what our college looks like moving forward. And so we value your input, and we're going to be calling people together for a 2-day retreat/summit.
Thank you. The only other thing I'd like to add for fall semester is, with all this change and things happening, and I think our Vice President of Student Services mentioned under the CARES Act, we want to make sure that we're also providing professional development for everyone on campus, right? We're looking for, how do we improve on these Zoom conversations? What did I do, or what could have been done better? Someone said earlier, I think in our leadership meeting, was, I wish I would know how to monitor exams online. I wish I would have been through that before. What are the best practices? So those are things that will come as well. That is what I had for the quick updates. And I'd like to go ahead and start turning to questions unless there's something else that I missed. Anyone else? Ricky, is there anything else you want?
I know some folks had some difficulty accessing the YouTube channel, so I want to apologize on behalf of the college for those who may have had difficulty. And again, I want to assure everyone that the discussion about opening is to have dialogue, to hear those concerns, to hear those reservations. And I know that during when we exited the campus abruptly, there were a lot of dialogue about instructional faculty versus non-instructional faculty. And I assure you, during this entire process, our wonderful faculty, both those instructional and non-instructional, have been on campus. We've allowed people into their workspaces to do videos and to do experiments and to access their work sites. And we'll continue to do that as long as you work with your supervisor. And that's because the hardest hit group in this SERP is actually our facilities team. And so those folks are working around the clock to sanitize our spaces. And so when we go into them, they come behind us to make sure that they're clean. And that helps us go back to our families and ensure that we're not carrying this virus back to them. And so we got to be very mindful of our classified professionals and how they're impacted by this SERP and the vacancy list, because frankly, in terms of just sheer numbers, they are the hardest hit.
And we do have a quick update, thank you, from our Vice President of Student Services, Denise Wisenhunt.
I'm just saying that Student Services is really busy right now, making sure that we connect with our students. One of the things that we're really excited about, and I know that you've gotten some information on, I'm just going to do one more plug for it, is that under the leadership of Dean Deddy, working with a fabulous team, Ultimate Student Experience, Dean Savage, Dr. Bull, a whole bunch of people came together to provide a space in the campus area for you to have a student service presence. This is like a student's door inside of your campus area, and we really encourage you to flick that light and turn the light on. Dean Deddy has given that information already. We're going to be sending that out to you again, but there's all kinds of things that are really dynamic happening in student services to make sure that we're connecting with students where they are. So we're using things like Instagram, social media, and of course, the good old-fashioned phone, cell phones, and other resources, constantly thinking about how we connect with students. Our counseling team, financial aid, this is a difficult and challenging time, but everyone is standing ready to support our students. So I invite you in your roles, if you can, to please make a plug and really turn that light on in your campus page, which allows students to have entry into all the different resources, basic needs, food, information on food and housing, information on all the different support programs, because what we know is critical now is we have to ensure that we're doing our best effort to make sure that our students stay. And so we're doing great things in partnership with instruction and administrative services. And I just invite you to learn more. That's it.
And if I could say one other thing that came up in the Academic Senate meeting, and it's related to CARES, is that unfortunately our federal government doesn't respect our undocumented students, DACA students, as much as we do as a college and as a family. And let me just go on record to say that I fully support our undocumented students and our DACA students. And our faculty wanted to know, what could we do since they were removed from being eligible for the CARES funds. And so under the leadership of our Vice President of Students, Denise Wisenhunt, and our acting Vice President of Administrative Services, Roxanne Solis, we've been able to identify $20,000 out of the generous donations to the college that range from funds coming from the San Diego Foundation, from our chancellor, from Jim Senegal, and from your great donations, our employees who donated nearly $12,000. We're going to earmark $20,000 that will go out through the Dreamers Resource Center and the leadership there, so that our undocumented students have some sort of relief, no matter how small it may appear. But we've been able to carve out about $20,000. And if you want to join us in that effort, you can go to the college's website, sdcity.edu, and click on the foundation page and donate to the foundation, so that our very deserving undocumented students who were seemingly left out of this CARES Act like they were not impacted by this. Yes, they are impacted by this. Many of them cannot work. Many of them are facing homelessness. And so I would ask and make an appeal for you to join us in supporting our undocumented students during this emergency.
If I could just add an additional piece of that, we're absolutely, as a campus community, as he said, committed to provide resources, much needed resources for our Dreamer students. And I really want to do a shout out to Dean Sanchez, as well as Dean Valadez, who are doing extraordinary efforts in the problem solving of how we're going to make sure that we get the money in the hands of the students. We met yesterday again. I mean, there's some great efforts to identify who the students are and also provide them with much needed support.
Thank
On
you.
to the questions.
We do have a couple questions, and I would like to really quickly address Kelly Mayhew, because she has to leave our Zoom before long. So did you want to say a few words before we move to our questions?
Let me unmute myself. I'm Kelly Mayhew. I'm the AFT rep for faculty for City College, as most of you probably already know. And I actually have to leave in a couple minutes because we have a union meeting right now. But I wanted to address Carol's question, and that is, the union has asked full-time faculty to give up overloads if it turns out that our priority of assignment adjuncts are not getting classes in their various areas. So we are doing our best to make sure that our part-time faculty are taken care of, because we understand that this is going to hit everyone harder. The news out of the LA Times today with the budget deficit is sobering, and what we're facing, because it makes it it's way worse than 2008, 2009. So we're doing work on all sorts of levels, at the state level, at the local level in our district, to try to support all of us as we go through this. If anybody has any individual questions, please contact me. You can just use my district email for now, katemayhew@sdccd.edu, and I'll do what I can to help. Thanks.
Thank you, Kelly. And yes, let's go to the questions. The first question we have is from Robert Kojima. How will students attending on-campus labs comply with social distancing guidelines? Well, so we've worked on this for 48 hours, and and that means that we're still unpacking that. And I have some thoughts and ideas, but it's not going to come from me. Really, we need to work on this together. So I can say that I had the opportunity before this call to speak with Dean Barnes, and some of our biology faculty are already thinking about things. Others are, really need to have the experts look at this as well. Experts meaning of the area, the discipline, but then also we're not going to do things that are unsafe. We still have to follow all the health code protocols as well. If anyone else wants to jump in, please do so.
Yeah, and I agree completely, Tilly, that great professors like Professor Kojima want to access their workspaces to shoot videos or possibly do Zoom instructions or demos. Part of the CARES Act that Denise talked about, which is in the amount of about between 1 million to 1.4 million, is going to be used to implement virtual labs, to purchase cameras. And so we are going to be working with our faculty, as we always do, to say, what are your ideas that you believe will work? We are looking to put together somewhere between $60,000 and $80,000 to offer a train-the-trainer professional development workshop series over the summer. So we know we have faculty who are very comfortable, who are experts at DE, and we know we have those that have some challenges. And so we want to pair those folks up so that we can look at very real solutions between virtual labs, between purchasing cameras, between purchasing laptops. And so we have a plan, Robert, that we would hope that you would be involved in if you have some ideas. When it comes to social distancing, we're really not ready to have students in classrooms. And I use students in the plural sense. We're not there yet. We're studying models out of Texas and other areas. And so we're in the planning stage. I met with the Academic Senate today and asked that College Council continue to meet over the summer, and that I continue to meet with the Academic Senate leadership weekly over the summer. Because as Tilly said, we don't have all of the answers. We know you have some of the answers, and we want to continue to work with you toward those solutions.
Next question. Will non-instructional faculty be working remotely in fall 2020?
Everyone will be working remotely, and everyone will be working on campus. And that is how it's been from the beginning. There is a concern out there that the non-instructional faculty is required to come on campus and the instructional faculty is not. And when that notion surfaced, it was very interesting to me because there was a workshop going on with instructional faculty the day that I found this out. And so what we envision, as I've just described, is that we are opening up lab space and classrooms for classes to be taught on site with very limited or no students. And so what could happen is, just like I'm coming from my home right now, Robert might be teaching his chemistry class from his lab with no students in it, being webcast to students on the line. So if I could dispel the concern or address the concern that there won't be any instructional faculty on campus, and then all of the non-instructional faculty will have to be on campus, folks, this will happen in waves. It will be organic, and it will be a combination of everyone being on campus and everyone not being on campus, as frankly it has been from the beginning. And for those of you who were on campus on Monday, if you would have been there with me and Dean Savage and several other folks, there were people on campus retrieving computers, retrieving things that they left. That has occurred from day one. I hope that answers the question. And I really would love to know more about that concern out there, that instructional faculty are allowed to not be on campus and the non-instructional faculty are required to be on campus, because frankly, we're not requiring anyone to be on campus. The communication from the beginning has been that we would reserve the right to call anyone back given the need to do so. And frankly, we've done that. And frankly, people have requested to come back and we've allowed them to do that.
And if I may add on some of the instructional, there are some hard to convert classes and some labs and some of those things that we're working carefully with, but we also want to make sure, again, those health codes are being met and the safety for everyone. So when we know more, we'll share. Next question is from Sabine Kurz Sherman. Is there a possibility that outdoor off-campus field trips could take place if physical distancing is practiced and masks are worn? Good question.
You know, that is something we probably need to follow back up with risk management. We had a great conversation with the deans on Tuesday. And let me say this about a virus. The virus is unpredictable. It doesn't have any feelings. It doesn't have any emotions. It's not rational. And so the moment we say yes to something, this matter could flare up. And what I can assure you is we're going to follow the advice and the instructions of the county health department. And shout out to Dr. Dottie Cordell and the updates that she's been sending, right? Dottie is really our lifeline to what is going on at the county from the health department perspective. So we're following that advice. We're following the advice of the state. We're following the advice of the federal government. And so I can say at this point in time, the answer to that would probably be not likely, because we don't want to assemble 10 or more. And the last I checked, we don't have any classes running with less than 10 students. But that doesn't mean that tomorrow or the next month that could change. As the virus changes and we've been given the green light to assemble, that might be very likely. Continue to ask those questions because we want to do what we can following the advice of the health community.
Thank you. Next question is from Eileen Gum. Denise, this one might be for you. Any news about the second disbursement of financial aid? Some students are still waiting, question mark.
I can actually answer that. This is Roxanne. The second disbursement, I picked up the checks on Monday afternoon. The accounting team met me on campus on Tuesday. There was 291 financial aid checks received. 217 of them were mailed on Tuesday, and we're contacting students daily to get them out. So they have been dispersed and they're in the process of being mailed.
Thank you, Roxanne. Next question is from Leroy Brady. Since we have an open campus, will PPE be available for everyone? And will we maintain an open campus?
Roxanne?
So yes, we are purchasing several items as far as PPE. We have, right now I can tell you, delivery tomorrow, we will have 4,000 masks. We will have disposable and N95 masks. We will have gowns, sanitizer, gloves, and plexiglass dividers. As this planning phase goes, as we start planning and the dialogue happens about reopening, and if we need anything else, we have the vendors in place to provide the necessary equipment for our campus community and those students that are on campus. If they indeed need to be, we will have the necessary equipment.
And if I could chime in, I want to send a kudos to the biology department. They happened upon about 200 of those high demand plastic shields. And so we donated a great deal of them to our clinical sites. Dr. D. Armstrong and I went to several clinical sites, and thank you to Dottie and our other nurses that helped us with that. But we kept some as well because we realized that some of our employees might need those should we open. And I want to define open, not open in terms of how we have been open, but open in terms of taking safety and social distancing into consideration. So that might mean, hypothetically, not everyone in an office being there at the same time. Maybe you have a crew in the morning, maybe you have a crew in the afternoon, maybe you open 1 day a week, maybe you open 2 days a week. Had a great conversation with Dr. Savage about the impact of the budget on counseling and what would be the likelihood of having to close down an office on a Friday. Folks, all of those things are up for discussion as we move into a budget climate where we are going to have to make accommodations to having less resources and dealing with a virus. So when I use the term and when we use the term open, let me qualify that and also quantify it, that we don't mean open in terms of how we were prior to this virus. We mean open in limited cases where we know we can take the safety and the health of our employees. If we can't ensure that folks are healthy and safe, we will not open.
Thank you. We do have a couple more questions as well. Next question is from June Cressy. We have relied on Nance's for years. Can you speak to their status in the fall, given that most of the SERPs are classified?
So I guess that's
It's a Ricky
yes.
Or you want me to?
So we will have Nances. We always have Nances. We will always have Nances. But let's understand the provision for using Nances is either, and there are several, and so help me out, Roxanne. But generally speaking, to surmise, you have students who are Nances, which allow them to work because they're in school, both at our college and other colleges. And then you have Nances that are hired for short-term projects. What you'll see is a decline in Nance. Well, there's one other area. Another area for a Nance is if a position is in recruitment and you don't have anyone in that position. Outside of those three areas, the majority of the Nances will be on restricted funds. So the college is divided into restricted funds like EOP&S or equity, the HSI grant are some examples of restricted funds. And then you have general funds, where you'll see a very limited number of Nances is on the general fund side, because folks, as you heard Dr. Kelly Mayhew say, and me say as well, the state is facing upwards of a $52 to $54 billion deficit. And so we're going to have very limited general funds to be able to hire Nances, except for a current recruitment or the other areas that I mentioned.
Thank you. Next question from Jennifer. Some employees of San Diego City College have have school-aged children and are waiting to hear what the K through 12 are doing. Will this be taken into consideration when we are called back?
Yes, I'm facing that exact challenge myself. I am the lunch monitor, the math teacher, the English teacher to a 17-year-old and a 10-year-old. And in appreciation of Teacher Appreciation Week, I want to send a huge kudos to all of the faculty, to all of the K through 12 instructors, because I am not set up for this, to be running the college and teaching my children at the same time. And so we're going to work with folks just like we always have. And again, opening doesn't mean opening in terms of what it meant prior to the virus. Yes, we're going to work with people as we have been, and we're going to work with folks who are in those age groups that there is greater concern. We're going to work with folks who have health concerns, compromised immune systems. We love our colleagues, we love our students, we love our college. We're not going to force people back to work in the true sense of that term, but we do need to begin planning for tomorrow and instilling hope in our community and our colleagues and our students.
Thank you. Next question is from Carlos de la Lama. Do we know which offices will potentially be open on campus for the fall semester? I'm particularly speaking of things such as admissions and records, and mailroom, counseling, etc.
At this juncture, Carlos, the answer is no. But I can assure people that to some degree or another, everything's going to open in various stages and in various staffing levels. And to some degree, all of these offices are open right now. If you go to campus, and I don't want you to go to campus unless you talk to your supervisor, but to some degree or another, these offices didn't ever close. They may have closed to the public, and I apologize that let me stop right there because of the background noise.
If I can chime in, Dr. Shabazz, really quick on that point. There are a variety of services that are deployable and are currently being deployed right now that are remote. Our application, for example, admissions records has always been online. That transition has already occurred. The workshops that we have, at least from the counseling perspective, transfer and career, those are already remote. They've been online for quite some time. And so these offices that Dr. Shabazz said are open. There's a myriad of resources online that have been there. Application is online. There's Zoom counseling occurring at this moment that has been happening really since we left campus physically. Students are being seen at the same amount of foot traffic. In fact, we booked for the next couple of weeks. We just got out of a counseling meeting earlier. So services in counseling, I can assure you, and admissions and records are being currently conducted at a high level. And there's also a plethora of resources through our website, through the Canvas that Dean Deddy has shared, and through our social media.
Can I add to that also?
Please.
I just want to say that the mailroom and receiving, I can say that our team there really never left. And whenever there's a need for someone, they're coming to campus voluntarily. Student accounting, I can tell you the effort when trying to get scholarships out, financial aid checks, anything that we need to do to serve our students, our team is there either physically or online. We really never close as well. So we're here to support. We found great ways to navigate this new reality when trying to get business done. So if there is something that you're needing that, maybe a resource out there that you're not aware of, please reach out to me. I will, work with my team and we'll figure out a way to make things happen for you. Because that's pretty much what we've been doing on a daily basis, making sure that, we're here to serve. And if one way doesn't work, if the old way doesn't work, we're going to find a new and innovative way to make things work.
I would just say total agreement in everything that's been said. Right on our line right now, we have our admissions supervisor, Megan Soto, has been in many spaces just sharing the words about what we offer. And we, like everyone else, are in those spaces. We're doing our best, trying to make sure that students get financial aid. But we've done a lot of learning. Just like in the instructional side, we have kind of gone to school. So, and how we've gone to school in one way is that we really integrated technology. We're using the use of online technology for our petition process. And Dr. Bull really shared with you some of the other areas. We're constantly growing, but we're always open to feedback because we want to do better all the time to serve our students, just like our instruction. So thanks so very much. And just a lot of great stuff happening.
Yeah, and if I could chime in, and I apologize about the background noise, and I want to address something because we have our great chair of counseling, Georgina, is doing a wonderful job, as well as Dr. Bull. I do not, when I say open, I do not envision seeing a counselor sitting in their office across the desk for a student. Like I just don't see that happening until we get the all clear. What I could see happening is maybe a counselor's in that office, the classroom on the third floor, maybe teaching a student development class via webcam or something like that. Like I don't see us putting students and people in close proximity that is out of alignment of social distancing. As a matter of fact, Dottie wouldn't allow us to do that even if we wanted to. And so I want to be clear, because I know when people hear open, they hear various things. Now, what I do foresee happening with the proper planning and the proper PPE and the proper communication is maybe an office like admission and records or financial aid has a satellite group where you don't have the whole office there, and you have lines on the ground very similar to the grocery store, and you let one person in and there's social distancing. And I wish you all could have seen the great team that was there distributing the laptops, right? I mean, that we had Dottie there, we had Dee, others there really helping to guide us in terms of what is proper distance, having PPE, people opening up their trunks, was putting it in. So some of us have lived through this in such a way that we know that with the proper planning, that it is possible to engage people in a way that is safe and healthy. Do I see us being open like we were prior to the virus? No, this virus has forever changed our lives in many ways that we're just beginning to understand. And so let me just go on record to say, we're not going to have people in small spaces. As a matter of fact, the exec team and I are having a summit on campus on Friday. We're having that summit in MS 140. We've got enough tables that are far enough from each other that we can be in the same space with PPE and have a dialogue. Those are the sort of things that we're talking about. We haven't made any finite answers or decisions. We're going to work with our teams on campus to get their feedback. I can assure you that the district's going to do some kind of survey to employees saying, hey, what kind of things would you like to see happen before you're comfortable to return back to campus?
Can I also add, Tilly, that as far as the counseling goes, I wanted to point out that although we are being required to physically distance from each other, I know in counseling, we are doing a lot of things to maintain that social connection with students, even though we may not be standing right in front of them. Our team has been very creative in providing services through a variety of ways. We have our Instagram Live sessions where students can come and ask questions. The counselors are creating TikTok videos to help connect with the students.
I haven't seen one of those yet.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. They're creating it. They're working on it. The transfer center is also working on a TikTok video. So we're trying to really come up with different strategies and different things to do that to meet the students where they are, because we know that's where they are, right? Social media, we're very We have a big high presence in our social media, both in all of our social media platforms. We have YouTube channels. We are doing the Zoom appointments. We're answering emails. So we're definitely making a big effort to socially connect with, we're still connecting with students.
Absolutely.
We may not physically be there, but we are connecting them. So please, I did send the department chairs a variety of links, hyperlinks where students can connect with us. So please ask your chairs for those links so that you can share them with your students and have them reach out to us, because we're definitely there. We're providing a lot of things for them.
And to lastly, add to Georgina's point, I know initially when we launched online, there was some trepidation amongst faculty about having online content. We've created that for you. So to utilize the series of workshops that we have workshops in careers in arts and humanities, social behavior science, STEM. If you're looking for ways in which you want to engage your students to watch a YouTube video and write a journal or reflection or papers on, we are creating this content partially for the students' benefit, but also to supplement your coursework as well as faculty. So feel free to utilize our YouTube pages and supplement some of that coursework.
If I may add to the tutoring services never stop serving students. So we have ongoing services. Now we have improved, innovate the more tutoring services from our 3 centers, the English Center and the Math Center. So we are providing Canvas tutoring in addition to the 7 days a week tutoring. We made presentation to the counseling, and we also have very good video to give orientation for our students to use our services. So I just want to share with you, and I want you to share with your students that the academic support services, tutoring services, supplemental instruction are still ongoing, and we are continuing to serve our students here.
Can I address, I see a question there from who I assume is Terry Wilson. And Terry, thank you for inquiring about my daughter in dance. And Terry, I need a 10-year-old to be able to get in one of your virtual dance classes so we can get her the proper exercise. But I can tell you, I sit on the board for the Museum of Man because Terry's question is about the arts. And that is something, frankly, I'm gonna ask Tilly to schedule a meeting with Jeannie, and I'd love to attend to have a dialogue with you all about what that could look like, how you envision it, because you all are the experts. I can tell you as a member of the board of the Museum of Man, I'm seeing some very innovative and creative things around virtual tours and videos of and speaking opportunities. But I would love to hear from you, Terry, and others. Katie, our experts. We just hired a brand new professor in theater. So we would love to hear from you all what you envision. We're open. Like, let me also say that, like, we're open to your ideas because we don't have all the answers, folks.
Thank you. Next question that's on there is from Sarah Hawkins. If there is an in-person component to a fall course, will there be an attendance policy for the students? I'm going to suggest that you go back to your chair and your dean and work with them. Right now, that is one of the difficult parts right now, is just how to get it in the schedule. And again, 48 hours, we're just trying to get the right language together. So I'm going to refer you back there for that one right now. We also have another question.
Tilly, if I could though.
Yes, go ahead.
I think it's still important that the faculty have academic freedom over their courses. And so your syllabus
Absolutely,
is
their
your
courses.
contract with the student. And so when you put your attendance policy in your syllabus, it's just important as a faculty member to communicate with the students. Now, if I could, one of the things we learned from this spring exercise, if you will, is that many people went to Zoom, but offered Zoom in a different time than their class was listed. And so the great leadership of the faculty, Dr. Kelly Mayhew, made a suggestion that we're pursuing in terms of putting some language in the schedule to say, hey, we may need to go remotely, and here's what that means. And so I know that Nadia and Tilly and the chairs are working on communication in the schedule, but your syllabus should be used and frankly enforced to communicate with students what your attendance policy is.
Thank you. I have 2 more questions here. One of them I think may have already been addressed, but I'm going to ask it again. Will counselors be working remotely? What I heard is yes. And will all of us be
We
working
also heard
remotely?
that they will be.
Yes. And beyond campus? Yes, at some point in time. It's yes to all of them.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just for clarification. Next question looks like it's from our city DSPS. Do we anticipate that students might be able to access campus Wi-Fi in the summer or fall? Great question. Reliable Wi-Fi has been a huge barrier for some students, even with hotspots and such, not going into classrooms, but maybe parking lots or open spaces. Dr. Shabazz, would you like to take this one?
Yeah, let me see if I can
you
Caesar
share?
or someone allow me to share screen? If you could, I appreciate this question. Caesar and Kim are working on a flyer as we speak to use the parking lot that is on C and 16th as a Wi-Fi lot. So we're just waiting for the flyer to come out. There will be social distancing enforced, but we will have a Wi-Fi lot. And as soon as we can get the flyer out, we'll be able to open up those lots. So thank you for that question. We will have.
Sorry, I don't have the access to give you.
And the Wi-Fi lot, there'll be a flyer forthcoming that will be emailed to students and put out on social media. Everyone on campus will have it. But the lot south of the Child Development Center, Berta's old Child Development Center, as we build her a new one, adjacent to 16th Street and C Street. So the lot across from where cosmetology and nursing is, north of that, south of Child Development, to the, I guess it would be east of the business building, is where the Wi-Fi lot will be. And so we're working on a flyer. We'll send that out to campus and the students. We should hopefully have that by tomorrow, Caesar, hint, hint.
Well, we are up to 3:33, and I just want to say thank you and a special shout out to Lydia Gonzalez and Cesar Gamapas, who's really helped us to get this production today coming to you live from YouTube. So thank you and shout out to all of them, and thank you to all my guests here today. I would like to potentially do another session with faculty, or just maybe, it might be even nice just to have questions sent in and then we try to address them as they come through. I don't know, let me think that through and see how we work on that, but it's been nice to be able to address them. We have one more question if we have a moment from Felipe, and it's how will students know how much time online course will be via video? Well, Felipe, this is going to be you and your dean and your chair's working together. Well, you are the chair. We're going to work on that and getting that communication out to the students. And we just had a conversation about how important that's going to be in the schedule notes and stuff. So I will follow up with you, Felipe. Anything else? Anyone else need to make a quick announcement?
If I could, again, I just want to say how proud I am of our amazing college and how quickly we moved to help students and our colleagues during this process. I hope everyone is doing well. And I agree completely with Georgina's assessment. And shout out to our counselors, our dean over counseling, because they were recognized by our state chancellor for offering innovative approaches to support students. And there's so many example after example of our colleagues going above and beyond to serve students. And so I can't thank each of you enough. It's going to be organic, folks. We're going to make some mistakes. We want to work with you when we make those mistakes, or if you have an idea. And so you don't have to wait to the next forum to send your questions in. Send your questions to your supervisor. Those of you who need your computers, we've opened it up if you need to take your computer home. We don't, unfortunately, have laptops for every single person, but if you had a desktop and you need to take it home, work with your supervisors. People have been doing that. If you left your ergonomic keyboard or your chair, now we might not be able to take your desk, but we're all working in less than ideal situations. If you saw my makeshift desk right here, is less than ideal, but I'm so blessed to still have my employment. I'm so blessed to work with great colleagues like the ones at San Diego City College. And so we'll continue to do the best that we can under a less than ideal situation, under, it's an emergency. And so thank you. I just thank you on behalf of our students, on behalf of our college, our district. Thank you for your service, your leadership.
Thank you all, and have a great weekend coming up. See you soon. Thank you.